Hi everyone, and welcome to this reading about what energy you create and destroy. The first pile is going to be this labradorite, this tiny bottle of chips of labradorite. The second pile is going to be this tiny bottle of amazonite. And the last pile is going to be fluorite. So I'll say that again. First pile is labradorite, second is amazonite, and third is fluorite. Hi pile 1, if you chose labradorite, then I'll go ahead and give you a quick reading about what kind of energy you create and destroy in this lifetime. So like just naturally from your state of being, what energy you create without trying to, just effortlessly it is created from your being, and then what in turn is destroyed or taken away due to your existence. So let's see, Spirit, please connect with all of the angels, ancestors, spirit guides of my pile 1. Please let me to their highest good, and anything that isn't of the divine plan or of the divine light can leave now and is no longer welcome here. Okay. Spirit, what type of energy does my pile 1 labradorite create? First we have 7 of Cups in reverse. So in the material world, you establish people's realizations about their own illusions. You help people to sit back and observe what the root of all their problems is, and also to sit back and observe how they contribute to those problems or how they react to those problems, which sort of shows them what actions they were maybe doing that started the problem, or maybe shows them what illusions they were holding themselves under that kept them in that problem and they didn't know why. Basically, you help people get rid of their illusions. That's the type of energy you bring into the world, and you give other people in your life. It's just this this groundedness, this clarity. That's a better way to put it. This grounded clarity that isn't founded in emotional states, but is more founded in the lack of emotional states. So being able to step back and look at a situation for what it truly is. Spirit, what else does my pile 1 create in this lifetime? What is created by their energy? Death. We have the Death card, so that's a major arcana. I feel like a major part of your life is, maybe for some of you actually bring, like maybe you have connections to the beyond the veil, or you might be a medium, or maybe you even have some sort of black magic power that has to do with causing death or famine or sickness to certain people. But for others of you, this is just an energy of, like, again, endings. When earlier I was saying ending people's illusions, this is more just helping people accept anything, or accept the changing of anything, or accept the death of anything. And that the way that maybe you're the type of person who really easily understands and accepts those darker parts of life. So you automatically just give out this energy of being able to accept the state of death and what it brings, and how death like makes it to where you leave something behind and come on with something new. And because this is the Seven of Cups in reverse, I'm feeling that the deaths you usually help bring across are specifically for and this deaths could be like actual deaths or like ego deaths, but these that you bring across are actually for like the endings of illusions or the endings of emotional patterns or emotional cycles into something new, into clarity, into fully realizing and accepting what you are doing and what the people around you are doing. Spirit, what else does my pile one bring to the table? Wow, we have 5 of Swords and 10 of Swords, which is weird. Because usually when I see like 5 of Pentacles and 10 of Pentacles, it's like a spectrum, like 5 Pentacles poverty and 10 of Pentacles abundance. And this with this being defeat, I'm feeling like you have a strong connection to the darker parts of life, or the dark side of things in general, like yin yang. That you just understand it easier, and maybe you've been through situations where you just have observed that to the point where it's become almost normal to you, like maybe when you were a kid. And this has caused you to sort of like have your third eye open when it comes to dark situations or situations where people are causing themselves defeat or causing other people defeat, or where people are stuck in these emotional illusions. You help people accept the defeat of that. You help people accept that they were wrong. Because part of the reason people stay stuck in those energies is because they don't want to accept or believe that they need to change something, or that something is needing to die so that something new can go in its place. You know what I mean? Like energy has to be, you only have a certain amount of energy you can take in. And once you're done with that energy, it has to be repurposed, or else you're just using the same energy over and over. And you help people sort of to not only realize that defeat within yourselves, but you defeat people in that way. Like your third eye is so open in that dark side of things that you know, it's almost like you karmically rush in and cause other people defeat exactly when it is needed to make that blow to their ego in a way that will give them this ego death and this change within themselves of emotional illusions. You're really good with your words, especially with both this 5 and 10 of Swords here. Oh my god, this is 10 of Wands. Why did I think? I guess they look kind of like swords. It's 10 of Wands. So the pain that you see other people go through and the pain that you go through ends up bringing a lot of, like the lessons you learn from that pain end up bringing a lot of abundance to your life. You might have Jupiter placements in Libra or in Scorpio, but there's definitely this heavy feeling of just having to take on other people's karmic situations, not even take it on, but seeing it being like you have the ability and privilege to see it for what it is, and you feel that responsibility to bring defeat to those patterns in people so that they can change them, because that's a passionate part of yourself too, is accepting defeat in yourself, or accepting that the ego must die, or that it can't live forever, that you can't be like invincible, as an ego, because you're just another piece of a larger system. And with this 10 of Wands, oppression, it's like you put this, it's like you bring this pressure into the world of like, maybe you've experienced oppression in your life and you speak out about it, you speak out about that now, And this triggers some people, but it really helps other people who haven't been able to have that voice or speak out about their oppression. You might also have a knack for, as I was saying, your ability with words to trigger people into changing. Especially with this 10 of Wands, you're able to pressure someone. Like you're smart and methodical about it in a way where you basically put the pressure on someone that if they don't change, then it's like their own mistakes are gonna fall back on them, and you sort of make them feel that pressure of their own emotional patterns that are keeping them in this defeat, if that makes sense. You also bring into this world this, what's it called? Strength? I don't want to say stubbornness because it's not a petty energy, but it's like when other people would have been burnt out and given up and would have just been defeated by their own ego, you are still standing. You are still holding on to the weight on your shoulders. You're still moving forward, and that shows other people that they can do that too, despite what they've experienced and despite the load they're having to carry. You also help people to be able to let go of that oppression, or not oppression, to be able to let go of that burden. And it can also be oppression. You help other people let go of their attachment to the oppression they receive, or maybe how much the oppression affects their inner state. You sort of help them change how they perceive that and how their ego deals with that in a way that helps them feel less stuck in this muddy emotional energy to where they can't be happy. So that's good. But you also not only inspire people and show people that they are able to let go of the load, but you there's almost like this optimistic energy where you remind people that there is something around the bend. Like there's always, because with 10 of Wands, we know that those wands are about to be let back down. Like the person has been carrying the wands for so long. They've moved on from 9 of Wands of just being burnt out, and now they're so tired they can almost barely deal with it. They're about to collapse, and they don't even know that around the corner is their destination waiting for them. So you inspire people to believe in that hope. Sagittarius energy of just believing that things can possibly be better. Especially for people who've had to face oppression and who've had to deal with this burden for so long. You help them, for some people, you help them let go of that burden because they no longer need it and they're ready for that part of their life to die and be repurposed. And for others, you help them get through that burden. You help them keep going with that if that's what they need for themselves, or if that's the only way they can operate, or if they're being even forced into that position. When people are in that position, you are usually the one to help them see the emotional patterns in the people around them and how that has put them in that position of oppression and having to carry that burden. You instead point out how it's not their fault, but the people around them who are causing that burden and oppression. It's their emotional instability and not understanding that is causing that. And you help them show that it's not for them to have an ego death. It's not for the person with all this oppression and burden to have an ego death. They're fucking doing the work. They're doing God's work. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. It's the people around them that need to change. They shouldn't have to keep being put in this position when the people around them won't change. It's just not how anything works. And even sometimes when you see people in this position, you are the one to go in and cause defeat, whereas that other person who is having that burden couldn't do it on their own. You come in and you help them out with that. You cut down all these people who are causing the oppression. Sometimes you even take the burden away with what you do. So major light work or healing work, you help other people, especially and with a lot of the darker parts in life in which most people are scared of fighting back against the people who hurt them or bring that darkness into their life, or changing that part of themselves. And you have experienced that within yourself, and you've experienced it within the people around you, which has given you so much. material and ability to be able to help other people with this and yourself in this lifetime. Alright, let's see. What does my pile 1 destroy? What energy does my pile 1 destroy? What energy does my pile 1 specifically destroy in this world? What energy does my pile 1 destroy? Yeah, so you do create a lot of new opportunities for people, but in that wake, you know, they're leaving behind those bad emotional patterns that kept them in that defeat, that kept them in that depression and burden. You destroy that sense of helplessness within people already. Like, you destroy that 4 of Cups. Sitting there thinking about it, having an opportunity to be able to change things and to be able to look at yourself and love yourself, but instead looking at all the people around you with their cups empty. You cut that the fuck down and you're like, no, you don't need to care about these other people with their empty ass cups. That's their fucking problem. You fill your own cup, you worry about your own cup, and then you can actually focus on your own happiness where other people aren't giving it to you. Prince of Swords in reverse, not being able to speak your mind, people not being able to have their voice, you cut that the fuck down too. As soon as you experience a situation or you find out that somebody's not getting a chance to use their voice, or they're even being manipulated into not using their voice, then you use your own fucking voice for them. Like, no. You're like, that's not how any of this works. We can't change these things. We can't leave these emotional instability behind unless we talk about the problem, unless we voice where the problem is coming from. And you also make sure, I'm hearing, to destroy anyone who wants to falsely accuse, who wants to exaggerate the truth, or who wants to who's just bad mouthing, saying shit they have no right saying, basically acting like a little fucking kid throwing a temper tantrum. Like, you've seen so many uneducated, ignorant people would come in with this Prince of Swords in reverse energy, acting like they know what the fuck they're saying. No. You win the argument every time. Sometimes there's not even an argument. You just fucking glance at them like they're literally the dumbest person on earth, and it hits them right in the fucking soul. Such a nice energy to be able to have that effect on these people who've been stuck in their ego trip and their power trip for so fucking long. Jesus. Yeah, I'm hearing that your soul is really passionate about this. Maybe because it's something you've seen other people go through, or maybe both. There might have been a time in which you weren't like super cutthroat with your words, but it's gotten to the point where it's like, these people need to be taken down a peg. Let's see. Spirit, what else does my pile 1 create or destroy? That's weird. What does my pile 1 destroy by their creation of this new way of thinking, this new way of operating in your own life and others' lives? Wow! 2 of Wands in reverse. You make people stop like brooding over it and thinking about whether or not they should like take a new step towards their future into how they like truly feel inside, and you make them actually take that next step. You make them actually like, you sit there and you're like, okay, it's either going to keep going like this because you've already tried this, and this, and it's clearly nothing's happening, or you can take what you've learned with these 2 of Wands, you can take this past, leave that behind, and take this new wand towards your future. You help people into 3 of Wands energy. You create 3 of Wands energy by destroying this 2 of Wands energy, and by destroying this planning and thinking. You're like, okay, you've planned, you've thought it out, now it's time to put it into action. You can't make the bad patterns in your life stop, or the bad people in your life stop, if you're just sitting there wanting it to stop, or thinking about it stopping. You have to actually take the steps to get yourself there, to get yourself out of that situation, or even to get other people to understand your situation. And if that's not happening, getting other people involved in your situation so that they can stop this oppression from happening to you. Yeah, there's this huge thing about sometimes people get stuck in their situation because they feel like they have no way out, or maybe they're even being pushed to have no way out. But no, you're like, you come in with your 10 of Pentacles abundance, with your inner wealth and abundance, and you either use your energy to bring something new to the situation and stop this brooding and thinking over it, or you help these other people find the resources to get them out of that situation that they're trapped in. Because you're like, there's no reason this has to stay this way. There's no reason things can't change. And you are a go-getter yourself. You know how to plan for your future, and you're not afraid to look towards the future. You're an optimistic person. You're not afraid to leave the past behind. Spirit, what else? What else does my pile 1 destroy in this universe? What else kind of energy does my pile 1 destroy? What else kind of energy does my pile 1 destroy in this universe? We have the 6 of Pentacles. Success. Specifically, I'm getting people who have... Okay, this is very hard to explain. People who have had... This is just an example of the energy I'm trying to explain. People have been given the silver spoon since they were born. And they've never had to try for anything. They've lived their whole life, everything going right, everything going successful, and they've never experienced loss or anything like that. You know what I mean? When people have that sense of themselves and their ego where nothing is ever going to go wrong because they've always had this success, and no one has ever talked back to them, or no one has ever fucking told them they were an asshole or called them out on their bullshit, you call them out. You are quick to call them out. When you see someone in their ego like this, thinking they're all successful, with these bullshit foundations, with these foundations that were handed to them, they didn't even work for, no. You're like, that is not success. That is not true success. And you are quick to break down and root where exactly and why exactly that isn't success. It isn't success. Which makes people pretty like, my ego, oh no. But it's necessary. Sometimes people like think they're okay in the situation they are. They've just sort of accepted, you know, the situation. It's like, this is a different energy. Like, if people have accepted their situation of just bad things happening to them, oh hell no, you're like punching that shit through the wall. You're like, oh no, we are not accepting the situation. We are changing the situation. We are moving on. And then with these other people who have just been like given this false sense of success within their own ego, you completely rewrite their sense of success with your words. It's almost like you have the ability to go the fuck off on people, if that makes sense. Yeah, look, Queen of Swords. You say what the fuck needs to be said, and you know what you're saying is fucking true. You don't even have to fucking fact check yourself. Because you never don't speak facts. You're never sitting here spreading false bullshit information or acting like you have the success when you don't. You're not afraid to not be successful. And you show people that they shouldn't be afraid to not be successful too. That they shouldn't be so fucking attached to the idea that their ego is always successful. No. You also help people get unattached from the idea that their ego has to stay in one place, that they can't change the situation they're in. No. They have the power to turn this fucking Two of Wands upside down and leave that shit behind. Leave that shit the fuck behind. But that is your energy that you create and destroy pile 1. So, pile 2, my Amazonites. Let's see what the universe wants to say to you. Spirit, please help me get in contact with all past 2's angels, ancestors, and spirit guides, anyone who watches over them. Please also let me repel any of the energies that wish to harm them and to cause negativity into their path. Anything that is not the divine light and divine timing is no longer welcome here. Please allow me to connect to all of my pile 2's in some way. Anyone who resonated with this video and this pile. Spirit, what does my pile 2 create in this world? What energy does my pile 2 give out and create? The Hangman in reverse. So the way that came out, just like, it made me feel this wave of happiness. Like, I didn't feel the happiness, but it just made me imagine happiness, like as in a huge ball of light, like tangible happiness, if that makes sense. Maybe you give gifts to people, or you donate money to charity, or you donate clothes, or I did something like that. Maybe you are the type of person to not have a lot of material objects and instead give all of your energy and everything that you can. Some of you might also just be really giving people who prefer to lessen people's pain and uncomfortability and be there to compliment them or help them feel better or work through their emotions or talk about their day. You pretty much distract people from their pain, and you yourself do a lot of healing with your inner child. So people might see you as a really bright person. I'm getting Leo or Virgo vibes. They might just see you as a really like delicate, like nice person. They might really see your inner child, and I feel like it makes a lot of people happy. Like, people see how in tune with your inner child that you are, that maybe you don't realize, and it brings a special light to your life and to other people's lives that helps get rid of the pain of trauma that maybe people have experienced, or helps people let go of that pain instead of get rid of it, you know, because there's no really ridding of trauma and what it's done to you, but there can be a creation of a lack of pain, you know. Just because the trauma can never go away doesn't mean that the inner child has to. Some of you might be therapists or writers who specifically write about emotional issues or trauma, maybe. I'm feeling that in this lifetime, your shadow work and your inner child are really connected, and healing in this lifetime has a lot to do with being able to let loose and have fun and get in touch with your inner child. Spirit, what other energies do? I'm just getting a lot of like really beautiful, some of you may be light workers, just like light, you know, like maybe there's some sort of art that you do. I'm hearing writing again, maybe poetry. Maybe this is just your energy, your fashion sense, the way you talk and things like that. Like, you bring light to other people. Like, you create this light that is like maybe never been seen before. King of Wands, like, yeah, like this intensely, beautifully, like, it's almost like when people get in touch with your energy for real, and they're not just blocked by their own ego, and they actually feel the depth of your inner emotionality and light, they are almost brought to tears. They really feel, I don't know how to explain this energy. Like, it's like you are a catalyst for so much of people's like emotional realizations about themselves and their own trauma. And it's almost like people want to cry it's almost like when you're that in touch with your inner child, you're helping other people through their trauma, and you're like, but you're sort of making light out of it, making beauty and fun out of it. And it helps people who haven't been able to face their trauma actually be able to face it in a way that is so illuminating to what they really needed to hear. That it's not that it takes the pain away, but you illuminate it in a way that it makes them able to accept it. It makes them able to accept themselves and what they've been through. You do make people really emotional, which is why I was thinking, therapy? Why are you so emotional? But this could also just be like romantic relationships. Like maybe your karmic romantic relationships in this lifetime are just really on a deep level. Let's see. What else does my power one create in this world? Spirit, what else does my power one create in this world? What else is my power one? Page of Swords. Yeah. So you talk people through, you help people open up really about things they're afraid to talk about. And you open up about shit that you're afraid to talk about. Like, you have a knack for talking to people or being able to understand really anyone's way of communication that you meet. So you can sort of get on the same level as other people and meet them halfway, which helps them feel like they can talk to you more. They can talk about, well, just talk more. It just makes them feel more seen and more heard. And also with this Page of Swords, I'm seeing that you create some sort of online abundance information. There's like, maybe you post online, maybe you have a shop online. There's something where you are bringing this energy, like the energy you create is specifically going to affect things on in the web, in the internet web, if that makes sense. Especially I'm hearing your words or your passions or your beliefs are going to affect people over many generations. Jeez. Some of you might be gingers. And just be more like in tune with the universe and the infinite, might have special powers. Yeah, for some of you with this Page of Swords, I'm seeing that you have specific communication powers that help people to open up about the truth. Like you can either see when other people are telling the truth, or you make other people tell the truth, and however you do it. And this not only helps you to help other people who need to open up about something they've been holding back, or it helps you to see when people are of malintentions and are of the wrong intentions and are not actively not trying to be better, because you can see through people's expressions and actions and the way they talk. You also bring a lot of new conversations to the table, I'm hearing. People like the way you talk, and people like what you talk about. They feel like you have a lot to bring to the table. Maybe some people feel like you're very intellectual because of what you bring to the table. Justice in reverse. You create you create this reality, and maybe this is something you had to do for your trauma as a kid. Maybe this is just an idea you had or a passion you have, but it's almost like you have this, you believe in this reality in which people don't need to experience the revenge or justice or whatever they feel like they need to get closure on situations that cause them pain. You help people let go of that idea of needing justice within themselves. However those people feel like they need justice, you help people let go of that and accept. It's so hard because there are such dark and mean people out there. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about it but just let go and move on and forgive yourself. Because you don't want to let that person ruin the rest of your life and keep you trapped in their energies of like sadness and pain. And you recognize that not only from yourself because you've had to go through that, but you see these other people and they're stuck with that past pain that they can't let go of, and it hurts you. You just want them to be able to at least have the idea planted in their mind that they don't have to have that revenge. They don't have to have that justice. They deserve it more than anything, obviously. You don't think that they don't deserve it, but sometimes having those things that hurt you, and that, is the justice for yourself and for other people. Spirit, what else does my power to create? What else does my power to create? And that, is the justice for yourself and for other people. Spirit, what else does my power to create? What else does my power to create? What else energy does my power to bring to the table? What else does my power to energy bring to the table? Oh. God damn. Okay, I'm just gonna take one of these out. Let's see. Whoa! I got Wheel of Fortune reversed. That's weird because it came with Justice in reverse. That's weird! Valak. Oh, what the fuck? Isn't Valak that fucking demon in The Conjuring? One of the Conjuring movies? She's like, Valak. Oh my god. Dude, you recognize the omnipresence of people's pain and trauma in their life. You recognize how every single action and emotion traces back to childhood traumas. This Wheel of Fortune is just giving me so much crazy energy. It's almost like with you telling people that they don't need to have that justice that they think they need to have, that maybe justice can be found by just forgiving yourself and accepting those things by yourself and not needing the other person or whatever fucking caused you that pain to be brought justice to. But maybe that the justice comes from within has actually caused bad karma to come to those people or to those organizations that maybe this person wanted justice for or justice against. You know what I mean? Like, maybe by convincing those people and yourself to actually find that justice within yourself and forgive yourself, that was actually the energy that karmically caused those people and those pains to be receiving the bad karma that these other people have been shouldering their whole lives because they felt like they were never going to get justice. No. And now the energy is being directed exactly where it needs to be directed to. Spirit, what energy does my pile 2 destroy? What energy does my pile 2 destroy? Excuse me. What energy does my pile 2 destroy? Hold on, my cat wants to be let out. Kitties, you gotta do what they say right when they say it. The moon! You destroy the fuck out of people's illusions and people's anxieties and worries. I'm getting therapy vibes again. A little bit. Just a little bit. You have such a fucking knack to the moon. You are the sun. You're like, okay, the moon can reflect my light or whatever she wants to fucking do, but I'm the fucking sun. I'm illuminating the fucking truth that this moon bullshit isn't real. It is the subconscious. It is all just worries and anxieties, and you illuminate what is actually real in a person's life that they need to be focusing on, and what is just them being anxious or overthinking, which helps so much, because when you're just by yourself, it's just like you don't really know any better, you know. But when somebody else sits there and is like, yo, stop fucking thinking so hard about it, you're like, oh yeah, maybe I am just fucking being stupid about this. You know what I mean? Not only that, but within yourself, you bring clarity to the subconscious realms in a weird way. Like, you bring clarity to people's subconscious patterns and how their subconscious, how things that have happened to them in the conscious realms in the material world have affected their subconscious and emotional states and have created these worries and anxieties written into their DNA, literal DNA, because these traumas get written into your fucking brain. That's why they're so fucking hard to deal with. But you help people realize that it is like something that's sort of out of their control, but if they accept and realize that it is out of their control and that they can have some sort of semblance of control over it in the way that they can surrender to that. So take a step back and realize when maybe they're getting too ahead of themselves, too overthinking, too worried about, you know. And you also help specifically people who get triggered, if that makes sense. Like people who get triggered by things because of trauma, you help them take a step back and be like, that was just a trigger. It was because of this, this, and this. You're okay. You're a really soothing person, and you help people like actually take a step back and be like, chill the fuck out. For real. Because it's almost like when people around you, they're finally opening up, and then it's all just spilling out of them, and they're getting so fucking into it. And you're like, okay, I get you, but it doesn't gotta be such a big deal. That's why it's such a big part of your inner child, being able to help people through that, because you're just like, yeah, it's like you're just operating from your inner child, which helps the other person not get super like, is this the shadow realm? Am I doing the wrong thing? No, because they trust you, because you're just giving them your inner light, your inner child. Spirit, what else does my pal 2 destroy? What other energies do my pal 2s destroy? What other energies? King of Wands. That's funny because I got King of Wands earlier when I was like, you just have this light. King of Wands. So people who are like mean and not using their light and only projecting their shadow side. Look at him. He's yelling, he's screaming, and it's all shadow side. It's all ego projection. You don't even have to fucking be rude to cut that down. You just come in with your inner light and your inner child, and people automatically feel fucking guilty. They automatically know that they're fucking coming from an ego projection. Sometimes they get mad at you for it, like it's your fault for being a genuine person, and they're not. But other people actually, like, they stop being in this King of Wands energy. They stop being like, oh, like, ugh, I'm the big guy here. And they just kind of like get sad. And you're like, oh, I'm not the big guy. If that makes sense. Yeah. You cut down people's sense of power over others. You're like, the only power we have for ourselves. We can't control what other people do. We just can't. You also keep people from like getting angry about the things that have happened to them and being like, why does this happen to me? Why are they like this? Why can't this person change? Like, you help them, calm the fuck down and see it from a logical perspective. Like, sometimes people are just fucking childish. Sometimes people didn't grow up. They're immature. And that has nothing to do with you. You can't stop it. You can't make them stop doing it. And you can't make them change until they're ready. So, might as well just back the hook off and go into your own energy. Spirit, what other energies from our pile to destroy? Queen of Pentacles. For some of you, I just saw a very specific timeline where, like, you're helping someone out with their shitty parents. Yeah. Ow! That fucking hurt. I hit my bunny bone. My shit isn't funny. Yeah. I feel like however you are helping other people with their, like, shitty friends or their shitty parents, it makes those shitty friends and shitty parents angry. Like, it causes inconveniences for them because the people they're hurting and the people they're using and controlling are no longer submitting to their fucking tomfoolery. Oh, well, bitch. Oh, fucking wow. Queen of Pentacles. When people are sitting there like, there's nothing else we can do. There's nothing else I can do to change this. I already watched everything about my trauma. I've already worked through it 1,000,000 times. 4 times. There's nothing more to examine. You're like, but wait though. Wait a minute. And then you just point out what exactly. It's just like just immediately you just know exactly what they're avoiding. And they're like, like, maybe I don't know everything. Especially with people who are projecting. They're like, I know everything and you don't. Okay, well, if you know everything, good luck with that, I guess. These same people that say they know and everything end up being broke, or nobody wants to hire them, nobody wants to give them the time of day in relationships. Everyone always ends up saying they were a fake person. Like, okay, sure, you know everything, let's just roll with that. Because most of the time you're just fine letting people believe what they want to believe about themselves, because you can't change that. But you're also fine pointing out that, hey, maybe you don't know everything about yourself. Maybe you don't know, maybe there's some new things you could explore within yourself that would actually change how you feel about these pains, and change how you feel about these traumas, or maybe change how you feel about people around you. Spirit, one more card on what my pile 2 destroys. I said one! Okay, one of them actually landed on the floor, and the other 3 landed on my boot. So I'll just take the one off the floor. Strength! It's weird that you destroy that. Maybe people have tried so hard their whole lives to have strength. Maybe you've tried hard your whole life to put on this persona of, like, I can do this. I am the man of the house, and I can take care of all the other people in the house without needing any help at all. No, you can't. Strength. Let go of this need to control your ego and need to be in touch with, like, these masculine energies. Ugh. Toxic masculinity. And these people who have had to put on a tough persona their whole lives. You help people accept the fact that maybe being gentle, maybe being not tough all the time is a strength. Maybe not knowing everything, maybe not fucking constantly talking all the time, and maybe sitting back and observing is the actual strength. Maybe that's what helps you stop being so fucking hurt by your ego. I don't know, man. You just encountered so many fucking people's problems because of them feeling like they need to have this control over their life. And you're just like, it's fine to fall off the horse a couple times. It's fine to make mistakes. It's fine that you weren't the fucking perfect person or made the perfect decisions whenever those traumatic things were happening to you. You show people that it's okay to not have strength. It's okay to not always be strong. It's okay to need someone else to help you. It's okay to need to be able to talk about it with someone else. You show people that it's okay to not have to deal with everything alone. The strength card is all about being able to, face the issue on your own, having the strength and courage to do that. But not everybody can do that, especially if they're put in a situation where where they feel like they're wrong, they feel like they're alone, and they feel like everything they do isn't right because of how they've been treated. Logic is relative, and if that's all you've learned, that's the only logic you know, you're just gonna stay in that. That's why it's so important to learn from other people. That's why it's so important that each of us are different from each other. Because otherwise we wouldn't learn shit. We would just stay in the same fucking energy. Not saying strength is a bad energy, but if you're just sitting there acting like, I can do this all by myself. I don't need anyone. I don't need to examine any of my emotional stuff. I've already examined all of it. Sometimes you need a different fucking perspective. You, my pal, too, are that different perspective. You help people see, hey, there can be a different perspective. You help people stop fucking having anxieties and worries about their one simple worldview, because you expand that worldview about their own pain and trauma and how that has affected the entire course of their life, and also your own pain and trauma and how that makes you treat other people. Hope that gave you some insight, pile 2. Hi, pile 3. If you chose fluorite, the tiny bottle of fluorite, this is going to be a reading on what energy you create and destroy. Spirit, please get me in touch with Pile 3's ancestors, angel guides, anyone who watches over them. When I said ancestors, I got 2 of cups. So some of y'all might simultaneously be looking out for an ancestor with whatever you do. Spirit, what energy does my Pile 3 create and destroy? What energy does my Pile 3 create and destroy? Create. King of Cups in reverse. So that's weird. So even though you whatever you do in this lifetime or whatever you create in this lifetime has something to do with like one of your ancestors, or maybe one of your ancestors really connected with you, you don't need or rely on your ancestors for guidance at all. It's almost as if you have so many spirit guides helping you because you don't need guidance. Well, everyone needs guidance, but it's almost like you are fine having a teach-learn relationship with yourself, if that makes sense. You create sort of a unusual, not mainstream, I guess you could say, way of having emotional abundance. So some people perceive emotional abundance in a certain way that maybe you completely test that idea within them, or maybe you completely test other people's ideas of emotional abundance within themselves. And maybe sometimes when people are smug about how much they understand other people's emotions or their own, you sort of bring a new aspect to their emotions that makes them learn. And it's almost like by doing this, you learn about your own emotions. Basically what I'm trying to say is that your way of learning emotional ideas and patterns with other people is very unconventional, I guess you could say. It's not how people usually go about things in a way, but it's almost like it's creating a new path for people to take their emotional abundance into. Like maybe people who don't understand their emotions as well as other people do, or can't handle or comprehend their emotions as well as others do, can have a different way to work through their emotions that doesn't involve having to fully understand all of their emotions or know how emotions work or understand emotions in a social situation. Like basically you create the ability to operate from a emotionally immature standpoint that still helps people, that still makes it to where people are learning. It's almost like because it's such from a young and youthful emotional standpoint, it makes people learn on the opposite spectrum about their deepest karma and their deepest unconsciousness about their emotional expression and output. It's this weird energy where by being your inner child and a youthful soul and not understanding emotions or social interactions as well, you sort of force people to stop expecting everybody to be so polite and understanding and always meeting each other on the same level. Like, not everybody is the same, and that's what makes us so beautiful. Not everybody can immediately understand each other on an emotional level, but by bridging that gap, we learn a lot about ourselves. And you create that bridge. You help other people create that bridge within themselves out of necessity to get across to you, to understand your side of things, which is very unusual. Yeah, you aren't the type of person to brood over your emotions or over the past, you know. And it gives people a different way of like healing and accepting from their emotions, if that makes sense. At least the way you plant seeds in other people's minds with how you talk and how you express, and the advice you give other people. Spirit, what else does my pile 3 create in energy? What archetype of energy do they contribute to? What energy in the universe do they contribute to and add to and contribute to the flow of, I guess you could say? The Hermit. So for sure, this, maybe you shake up people's foundations where they thought they were like so emotionally knowing or so spiritually knowing or so mature of a person, I guess you could say. And you shake up their foundations because you sort of like, maybe you trigger their anger, maybe you make them think in a way they wouldn't usually are comfortable with, or whatever you do, it like puts people in a position where they're like reacting or triggered in a way by you, I guess, if that makes sense. And it makes them turn within themselves to be like, why am I acting like this? Like, I'm not usually this way. I'm not usually this. People are usually better controlled, I guess you could say, with their emotions. But the way you handle and perceive emotions makes them have to look within themselves. You also have a very attracting aura, like a very light, attractive aura that makes people want to talk to you and know about, like, it's like people think you have some deep inner secret that they want to know. And so they go within themselves and they're like, I wonder what the secret could be. Or they listen to you talk and it makes them, and it's almost puts them in this introverted space where they're like trying to understand exactly what you mean by what you're saying. Because it's as if the way you talk makes people think about themselves. It's almost as if you point out exactly what people aren't thinking about within themselves. And you also really, on a greater scale, like on a larger scale of time, I guess you could say, of the universe, you direct the energy of the universe and of other people back towards their own inner light. For whatever reason, for healing, for growth, for ego death, for whatever. You help them look within themselves and recognize their own perception and identity based on how they've manifested themselves into their own reality and why exactly they are there. Why exactly they're there. Let's see. Spirit, what else does my pile to? Oh. Take both of these out. 6 of Cups in reversed. Eight of Pentacles. So let me just say you are an abundant person. You, something about you is very smart in a very unconventional way. Like, people are like sometimes thinking you're dumb because they don't want to accept that you're actually spitting facts. I don't know if that makes sense. But you make, basically you trigger people's karma. You make people look at their own inner karma. You remind people of their karma, whether consciously or unconsciously. And people sometimes project their karma onto you. You reflect it right back onto them. Yeah, when people project their karmic whatever onto you, it's almost like it just bounces right off of you with this King of Cups in reverse, because with the 6 of Cups and King of Cups in reverse, you don't get stuck on emotional shit. You don't get stuck worrying about other people's emotions, or how are you going to feel, how are they going to feel if they say this, this, and this, or how are you going to feel if they say this, this, and this, and all this other bullshit. No, you aren't worried about that. You just speak your mind. You just say exactly what needs to be said. You just point out exactly where the problem is. People's problems tend to be reoccurring, tend to be sewn into the very fabric of their reality. And that's why it's so hard for them to let it go. Because then they'd have to let go of their whole reality. The whole fucking rug swept out from under them. But that doesn't mean they can go fucking sweep out the rug from under somebody else, because they don't want to accept that their reality is false and poorly sewn. Because you, by sort of not looking at your own past and your own emotional shit, I hate to say this, it's almost like part of your projection and your karma is making other people look at their past. Because you're not doing it too, other people aren't doing it. And you are observing these people who aren't looking at their past karmic patterns and aren't changing their karma, and who are letting their past make them feel like they have to change their karma, like letting their past like control them. It's a reflection of who you are. The shit that happened to you in the past is what makes you this person who doesn't care about the past, who isn't fucking mature with their emotions. I'm not saying everybody has to be fucking mature with their emotions and know exactly what the fuck to do in a social situation. I'm not saying everybody should constantly be enamored with their past and wishing they could go back and be all nostalgic. I'm saying that you give out the energy that makes other people have to look at their emotions, have to look at the past, because you're projecting so much energy of not doing those things. Because it's almost like with you, it's like reflection goes the opposite for you. So like the shit you do, people are doing the opposite, if that makes sense. Or especially with this King of Cups, because I'm getting like King of Cups is very reflective, reflects on everything and that has happened and his choices and how that has gotten where he is. But no, not you. You live in the moment. You don't fucking worry about emotional shit or whatever, because you were forced to worry about that as a kid. You were forced into a position where you had to stay stuck in the past and had to be constantly thinking about the past so that you could make the connection with the future, constantly having to be emotionally mature and everything. You've just decided to let go of that by letting go of this fucking past and helping other people understand that by looking at your past and accepting that it's no longer your present, you can let go of it. By stop wishing that your past was your present and accepting that the things that are in the past are in the past for a reason, because they're the past, because they've already passed. You know, like, it's almost like people get stuck in this weird situation where it's like, I want the past, but it keeps me away from the future, and I'm so confused about my place in life. It's just trying so hard to have all their emotions together, to have all their foundations good in their emotions. And you're like, no, bro. This is exactly what makes you have horrible emotional maturity. This is what makes your emotional maturity so fragile. And people actually change after that. There's something about the way you project your energy that makes people actually like stop blaming you, stop blaming other people, and look within themselves to change their karma. They actually look within themselves and they actually change their karma with this Eight of Pentacles and this Permit. You have that powerful energy that you create. Let's see what else. Spirit, what does my pile 3 destroy? What energy does my pile 3 destroy? Destroy. What energy does my pile 3 destroy? I don't know why this card was down here, but it was apparently meant for you. The Star in reversed. Needless to say, you destroy people's dark sides, their egos. You cut that shit the fuck down. You don't allow it to stay, just like the past doesn't stay. You're like, the ego is ready to pass. It has already passed. But you know what does stay? The fucking star of spirit. The fucking beautiful inner light inside each and everything in the fucking universe. And guess what? You're a part of that infinite divine plan. Wow. Yeah, you basically destroy people's darkness by creating this inner light, by creating this looking within yourself and being like, oh wow, everything in my reality is manifested by me. I am shining a light on everything on my perception, and everything in my perception, exactly how I perceive it, is my reality. Wow, it's almost like it's so weird how you're like, lack of trying to be emotionally mature makes you more emotionally mature than everybody in the fucking room. Let me change the light. It was really hard to search for these cards, so whatever shadow work you have to do, it might take you an entire lifetime to really get through it, or it might just be really difficult for you to get throughout your entire life. But I'm also hearing that you'll catch a break later in like towards your old age. You'll have finally accepted the dynamic you have with your shadow side and your sense of destruction. 3 swords in reversed. Again, people's shadow side. Did I say 3 swords? What the fuck? It's literally a 5 of swords. The conflict, the words that people say that they can't take back, that they didn't mean, but they can't take back. All of that painful ass shit that was just made out of petty shit. It came straight from the ego. And then the ego was like, oh no, I regret it because I lost what I wanted. You cut that shit the fuck down. Look at this petty ass bitch with his petty ass face looking back at those people all smug. No. That is not how a truly happy person operates. If you're really happy with yourself, you're not going to be sitting here pushing other people down to make yourself happy. That's temporary happiness. What the fuck? What are you supposed to do with that? There's this energy where you create this sort of, hey, what if we looked towards the spirit? What if we looked towards ourselves and actually thought about the fact that this shit goes on forever and the effect that we have on that plan? And you destroy, meanwhile, this pain, this fake 3 of swords, 5 of swords energy, where people are using their pain to act like they're better than other people, or to act like their pain justifies their rudeness and meanness to other people. You destroy that false reality in people, that false ego foundation, because you're like, hey, what if we don't do that? What if we're happy with ourselves, how we are? Look, the world. It came out in reversed earlier, but the world. What if we're happy with ourselves as we are? You, literally the world in reverse. You destroy people's incompleteness. You destroy people's be like, I need more. I need this to be happy. I need this to be fulfilled. I need this to be who I actually am. You are who you are right now. Who do you think is watching this video right now? If you aren't who you are, then who's watching this video? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you are constantly creating yourself. You are constantly creating yourself and how you perceive the world. And you destroy people's sense of, having to need more. So people's like greedy ego material stuff, you destroy that. Their need for more, their need for this pain to end, their need to have a justification for their trauma, their need to have a justification for their ego side and their shadow side. And you do it in the most wholesome way. You're not cutting other people down. You're doing it in the same way that you're creating your happy spirit energy. You're bringing your spirit out. You're opening yourself up like a flower and letting yourself be vulnerable to the world around you by showing other people it's okay to be vulnerable. That maybe if we're all vulnerable with each other, then maybe we wouldn't feel the need to cut down other people's vulnerabilities out of fear, out of lack of completeness within ourselves. How are you ever going to feel okay with somebody else being vulnerable and opening themselves up like a flower and actually being themselves if you can't be yourself? It's just going to trigger you and make you feel bad for yourself and make you feel like you have nothing and you can't do that and you can't be enough and you can't bloom like a flower. Like, bro, it's all in your head. And you just hate it when other people keep creating this reality for themselves where they're just like, I don't have enough. Well, what if you did? What if this was all you needed? Right here, right now. It doesn't have to be... It doesn't always have to be like, oh, I'm always happy, or oh, I always feel connected with the universe, or whatever. It's just like having gratitude. for what you already have and the choices you've already been able to make and where that has brought you now and how far you've come. Accepting that you have control over your life, but you also don't have control around the universe around you. And both of those things are a factor in your reality. So you have to surrender to the choices you're making and make sure that the way you're surrendering is that you're being open to how you truly want and the focus you really want in this direction in life. Otherwise, you're just going to be expecting so much from the world around you and from yourself, but you're never going to feel like you're correct. You're never going to feel like you're right. Even if other people tell you you are in those moments when you're not. You're still going to doubt yourself until you actually take a step back and be like, what if I didn't doubt myself? What if I liked myself how exactly I am? And by doing that within yourself, you've already accepted that within yourself. You've accepted yourself how you are. You help other people do the same thing. Four of Pentacles reversed. Because of these people's egos be leading their life, they have no foundations. They have no savings. They have nothing to back them up, back their egos up. Nothing to help them go into the future, basically. No investments, nothing. They've been too busy fucking worried about the ego, all this other fucking shit with karma, and having to deal with their emotions. You're like, bro, stop sitting there, pity party. You destroy this energy of not having foundations. You sit there and you challenge people to build something for themselves, to defend their own honor, and to defend their own spirit, and be like, hey, I deserve exactly who I am. I deserve to be who exactly I am right now. I deserve to have all the things I have right now. And also to break down anyone's foundations who maybe doesn't deserve to have everything they have right now. Maybe doesn't appreciate everything they have and tries to take from other people because they don't feel like they have enough. You break down those foundations. You destroy those foundations of those weak, silly foundations. Such a beautiful energy. Pile 3.